DNA technical leader, as well as the Founders Lecture chairperson. So here's Jennifer Holland. It gives me great honor to be able to introduce these two gentlemen to you today. I started working for Ed in 1986. My husband said, I was in graduate school and I wasn't working. My husband said, go get a job. So Feldy Rayo said, I know these two guys. They work at Forensic Science Associates. They might be hiring. So I went in for an interview, and I think Peter hired me on the spot. So I worked for Ed and Peter for over 13 years. I learned a significant amount of how to analyze crime scene evidence. And it gives me great honor to introduce Dr. Edward Blake. Dr. Blake has been in the criminalistics field since the 70s. Finished his dissertation on P30, if I remember correctly.
Genetic markers in human semen.
Genetic markers in human semen. The Bible that we all use. Even today, you guys still are using it, even though you may not recognize it. So it gives me great honor to introduce Dr. Edward Blake, who is going to introduce Dr. Henry Erlich.
Thank you, Jennifer. I hope that you learn more than something about analyzing stuff when you work with us. Thinking was always one of my favorite things to know something about. I apologize, I'm going to have to read my introductory remarks because for the last half hour, my navigators had me driving around this area, and we made it down here initially and went back up by the Cow Palace, and we finally got here just in time for Jennifer's introduction. Occasionally in the course of history, a new idea or concept is discovered that supplants a previous model. If the new idea or model is particularly significant to a culture or society, such events are referred to as paradigm shifts. This year we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the invention and publication of the technical procedure known as the polymerase chain reaction. The PCR enables relatively short targeted pieces of DNA to be duplicated many times over and allowing the duplicated target to be studied in detail. Today, every biological discipline, from medicine to plant and animal cladistics to molecular archaeology to forensic genetics, relies upon the PCR as an essential tool. As such, the PCR has replaced previous tools of molecular biology and genetics investigations such that one can divide the entire history of the biological literature into the pre-PCR epoch and the post-PCR epoch. The two epochs reflect a paradigm shift in the scientific approach to biological research and problem solving. While it is well known that the inception of the PCR was made by Kary Mullis, apparently while driving up Highway 1 to his residence in Mendocino in a quote-unquote stoned state. The crafting of Mullis's PCR concept for DNA amplification into a practical and workable tool was made by a collaborative group headed by Dr. Henry Erlich, at that time Director of Human Genetics at CETUS Corporation. Dr. Erlich also welcomed collaborations with a few forensic scientists at the time who recognized the application of PCR to biological evidence. One of those individuals was myself. Today, Dr. Erlich is Director of Genetics at Children's Hospital in Oakland. Please welcome Henry as the 2015 Founders Lecturer. Henry?